Mr. Speaker, the situation in the Fort McMurray area and the well-being of those who were evacuated continues to dominate our thoughts and our actions. There are thousands still under mandatory evacuation orders for Fort McMurray, Anzac, Gregoire Lake Estates, and the Fort McMurray First Nation. I know firsthand how hard it is to be away from your community, and my heart goes out to all those people who are displaced from the comforts of home. We continue to focus on those evacuated residents to ensure they remain safe and have access to the support and services they need. This morning, our Premier announced the details on the emergency financial assistance available to evacuees. This afternoon, our government will start issuing preloaded debit cards to those who have registered with the Red Cross to help them through this tremendously challenging time. Adults will receive $1,250 and $500 for every dependent. This one-time emergency payment will help evacuees meet their immediate short-term needs. I know this has been a stressful time, and I would like to make an appeal to allow individuals and families with the most need to come forward first. Those families who are not in dire needs of funds, who perhaps have still at least a few dollars left to use, are being asked to please wait a few days. These funds will be available for some time, and Mr. Speaker, no eligible evacuee will be left out. There are debit card distribution centres in Edmonton at the Butterdome, in Calgary at McMahon Stadium and the BMO Centre, and at Lac La Biche in the indoor soccer centre adjacent to the Bold Centre. Evacuees will need to bring with them their Red Cross registration number, photo identification, identification for their partner or spouse and dependents if they are claiming relief for them, and proof of residence or presence in the community. For those who left behind identification documents, such as driver's licenses, new Alberta ID cards will be issued free of charge at a registry agent. Those who have questions about this program or questions about any of the efforts underway should contact 310-4455 or again check the emergency.alberta.ca website. Our government also remains committed to providing evacuees with as much information as possible as it becomes available. We held our second telephone town hall last night, and it was very well received by residents. We had several experts available to answer questions of evacuees on topics ranging from house insurance to health care, education, the current state of the wildfires, and plans for re-entry. We had good participation on last night's call, with more than 13,000 evacuees who participated. And there are plans for at least 2 more town halls, one tonight and one on Thursday. Again, evacuees should register with the Red Cross to ensure that they receive the details of these calls. Mr. Speaker, an important step in the recovery will be to get the major industry in Fort McMurray back up and running. Yesterday, our Premier met with leaders from the oil industry to discuss the state of the oil sand facilities in the region and plans to return to full operations. We expect many companies will resume operations in the coming days, which is good news for their employees and for our economy. We are committed to working closely with them on the plan for a safe and timely recovery. The Alberta Energy Regulator has created a recovery team to assist with planning for the safe and environmentally responsible resumption of operations. The regulator is working with each affected company on a startup plan. This work will include appropriate authorizations, inspections, monitoring and logistical support to get sites operational. On that note, yesterday, Highway 63 was reopened for industry goods to move through. That includes the transportation of oil sands, supplies and equipment. The RCMP is managing a staging area south of Fort McMurray to allow for free-flowing travel that's intended for industry use. This is good news, Mr. Speaker, to get our industry working again. And while industry begins its return, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that we are working as quickly as possible to make Fort McMurray safe for residents to return to. As we speak, we have many people on the ground in Fort McMurray those conducting damage assessments and beginning repairs on critical infrastructure, such as the power grid, gas lines, and water treatment facilities. A team of inspectors is on the ground to conduct structural assessments, first on critical infrastructure and then on businesses and residences. Alberta Health Services will be assessing the city's hospital and begin establishing an urgent care centre. And in fact, there are already healthcare services available for the first responders there. And planning is underway to develop interim housing solutions for those who lost their homes. Mr. Speaker, we have hundreds of people on the ground right now working as quickly as they can to make the city safe and habitable. But there is significant work to be done. I understand the difficulties faced by those who have lost so much. I want everyone to know that everything that can be done is being done around the clock to get you home. Although the fire has moved away from Fort McMurray, the fire potential remains high. The fire in northeastern Alberta is out of control, and the size is currently estimated at 230,000 hectares. The current forecast indicates a high of 12 degrees Celsius today, 30% humidity. Winds will remain a factor at 25 kilometers per hour from the northeast. Widespread smoke remains a concern, and we are monitoring air quality closely to ensure our first responders are safe. In Fort McMurray, there are more than 700 firefighters bravely battling the blaze, along with 20 helicopters, 13 air tankers, and many pieces of heavy equipment. This battle has physical and emotional impacts on our first responders. To provide the support these brave women and men may need, 3 mental health therapists trained in psychological first aid arrived yesterday in Fort McMurray to provide support. In addition, Alberta Health Services is deploying a critical incident stress management support team. The team will include 1 mental health trauma specialist, 3 emergency medical services peer support members, and 1 EMS chaplain to provide psychological health help to all interested emergency responders. Mr. Speaker, I continue to urge those evacuees who haven't already registered with the Red Cross to do so. People can do this by visiting redcross.ca to register their name and whereabouts. As of this morning, more than 47,000 households have registered with the Red Cross. There are 13 reception centres open in the province, and as always, the best place to go for the most up-to-date information is emergency.alberta.ca. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.